So I'm going to show you how to do the second half of the big star on the Perfect Christmas Tree quilt. Okay, so you can see here the star block, and this is what I did on the baby lock. This is one half of the design, you know, all the way up here. This whole section right here is one half of the design. Now we want to do the opposite side. This portion right here is a square, and what we did was we found the center of a square. Squares are really easy to find the center. So now that I've got my, when I get ready to hoop this, I'm going to put this blue dot right underneath the needle as best as I can. I won't be perfect, but hey, that's what positioning is for. Now there are two halves to the star, and like I said earlier, I stitched the first half out on the baby lock. So when you get ready to stitch the second half out, you need to rotate your design. And I'm sure all of you know how to rotate a design in your Bernina, but just in case you don't, let me just show you how real quick. You're going to hit the edit button, which is what looks like a pencil. Then you're going to hit your information button. And then there's this little circle with an arrow on it. That's your rotate button. You hit it. And then we're just going to rotate it. We want a mirror image of it. So we're going to flip it and then flip it. And that's easy as that. If you're on a either X out or follow your breadcrumbs back, and then you're ready to stitch it and it's in the correct position. I'm using a magnetic hoop, and I'm using the 400 by, hold on, 400 millimeter by 260 millimeter. The biggest one they make is a jumbo size. You can also do this with a maxi hoop. Just remember, on the maxi, a portion of the hoop on the left side will be shut. You will not be able to stitch in it. One thing about magnetic hoops, as you see on the screen is still showing that I have an oval stitch field. My stitch field does not change because I have this big rectangular hoop. My stitch field stays the same. So really, you know, I still have this oval shape here, so I could not stitch over here in this corner or this corner, just like you would on any of your hoops. The Bernina machine always brings the design in to show where the first stitch is going to stitch, and that you can see right here by the crosshairs. Now I went ahead and brought the design in and put my hoop down because that's going to be really easy for me to get. It's going to make it a little bit easier for positioning, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I can see that since the design is already set up, why did it do that? Since the design is already set up, and I'll get that back where it needs to be, I'm going to lay the fabric on top of the bottom portion of the magnetic hoop and then slide the top portion over. So I'm going to do that, but I need to readjust my camera. Okay, so here I go. Make sure I clear the needle. I'm just trying to find that blue dot. This is so much easier when I am sitting down, but I'm trying to show you guys how it's done. This actually needs to go this way. Okay, now I've got the magnetic hoop on. Now I want to use the rulers on here to help me straighten, and I'm going to start looking at what the number is and where the seam is. And if I want to, like, let's say I want to put, hold on, we did the edit, so it's going to slide over. I'm going to need to reposition that. And actually, I'm glad we got to do that in the camera, because, you know, you can see how easy it is to reposition a quilt if you need to scoot it around. I'm going to get a table here to hold some of the weight off. That will help. Okay, so now I'm going to use the rulers on my magnetic hoop to line up the seams. I've got all these seams, so I'm just going to start looking at seams and making sure that the number here matches the number on this side, and that the number in front matches the number on the back. Usually when I do this, I pull front and back a whole lot. 2 and 5. I can't tell that one. 2, 5. Okay, so up and down I'm good, but now I'm looking and this is really crooked, so I need to maybe get that more in line. You never want to pull too hard, especially with a lot of seams. Let's see, that's 1.5, 1. Oh, we're looking good. We're looking good. Okay. And then before I start stitching, I just kind of finger the corners here just to make sure that hoop is set on there really good. Okay. Now, let me bring this in some so you get to see a better picture. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, my needle is right here and my blue dot is here, so they're not quite lined up, so I really want to get that lined up. So to do that, I'm just going to use the wheels. No, first I'm going to hit this hoop button right here. That's going to allow me to move my hoop. Now I've got my left and right, up and down buttons. I'll zoom back over here and we'll just move that so that the needle is right over that blue dot. Now what I can do is I can drop my needle down to do a little test. Not quite there. Now the one thing about machines is they do not like to move when the needle is in a partway position. So if it doesn't move, it means you need to make sure the needle is all the way up. Still need to go up a bit and over a smidge. So you can sit here and get that right on there. Now it's real important, again, because this is a star and we've got designs coming all the way in these points. It's real important that this design is hoop straight. So if you're using your jumbo or your maxi hoop, you need to make sure you use a grid and you need to do the best job possible at hooping that straight. Well darn, that was my first thread break of the day using metallic thread. Not bad at all. Sorry you didn't get to finish watching it stitch out, but here's the finished product of the star anyway. I want to quilt the triangles, you know, inside the side of the stars. These are called, what are they called? They're called Star Snowflake C for corner, because you have a little corner, so Star Snowflake C. And the way we've set them up is we're going to look at this whole rectangle, because again, it's so much easier finding the center of a rectangle than it is of a triangle. So if you think of this whole thing as one rectangle with 2 half square triangles, you're going to put a dot in the middle of this rectangle up and down. So that would be like a 1.5 inch. This is 3 inches, so halfway would be 1.5. That's going to be where your blue dot is going to go. So then you're going to make sure that your design fits into that into this triangular area. You may have to rotate your design 90 degrees, or rotate it around until it fits. Obviously the small part of the design should go here and it should fan upward. You'll see that the crosshair is down at the bottom of the design, and we need to find the center of that design so we can center it where that blue dot on our fabric is, or where the dot on the fabric that you marked is. So this is real easy to do. You just go to your edit button and then information, and then there is in information there should be a button called check. You want to select the check button and then just select the center icon that it looks just like the crosshair with a circle around it. Then you're going to use your knobs, and your up and down knobs, and you're going to just move that design. Let me just show you too what the needle is doing. You can see as I move the knobs, I'm actually moving the needle. So you just position the needle so that's over the blue dot, and then you can start your design, and it'll jump back down here when it starts, but at least you know it will be in the center. And that's all there is to that. So we've talked about doing the star, we've talked about centering the design. Now I want to show you how to do the side tree design. The side tree is you got these two green triangles, and then you have a background triangle and like a background rectangle. And we thought, well, first of all, we thought such a small space to stitch something in there, maybe people don't want anything in there, and I thought, no, we need to put something in there. So what we've done is we created a design where we have something here, something that goes along this parallelogram, and then we look at this as a big triangular design. And to make it easy, because if you've ever had to set a design inside a triangle, it's a little bit difficult because you've got to find the center of that triangle, and that can sometimes be a little challenging for some people. So we thought it's always easy to find the center of a square. So when you see this block, I want you to look at this as a square. A square with 4 half-square triangles, and one holly leaf is going to go in here, one holly leaf is going to go in here. There's a snowflake and swirl design. It's a single snowflake and a swirl, and then there's a triangle design. And what we've done is we put in color changes so you can still bring up your bobbin. So this is what the design looks like on screen. So as you can see, it looks a little bit dorky, but you can see your holly leaves, you can see that swirl I was talking about, and you can see the triangle. Now, we're going to need to rotate this one because we need our holly leaves on the other side. So we're going to go to Edit and Information, and we're just going to rotate it 90 and then 90 again. So now we have our... and we're going to need to do a flip. Okay, I'm going to set that up in the software so you won't have to do that. There we go. Alright, so I've got that set up now, and what's going to stitch out first will be, you can see where the start point is, so the green is going to stitch out first, so you will change your thread color to green. To match your tree. Now remember, we put in 2 different colors of green simply so you could bring the bobbin up. So it's a thread change, but I'm going to keep the same color green and the same background thread, the silver, I've been using on this quilt. So it's only 2 thread changes, but your machine will show 4, so that in between each design, since it jumps, you know, it starts up here, goes through, and ends up here, we don't want a long jump stitch on the back of our quilt, so it stop, cut the thread, and then you'll have the opportunity to bring your bobbin up again. See, I forgot, before we start quilting, our start point is way up here. We need to find the center so everything lines up correctly. So go to your Information button, go to the checkpoint, find the center, and first use your knobs to move the design over to the center. I'm just going to do that real quick.